It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call shots. Todd, this is not going to go the way you think.
It's a good opening. I'll give you that.
Every time now that we do an episode of Shots, you always have to comment on my intros.
I will comment on. I usually comment on your shit. Usually,
You know, I'm glad
Always.
to have these little moments of moral support from you. Much
I
like
support whatever you do.
much like Luke Skywalker training Rey on the island of Ahch-To in Star Wars Episode 8: The Last Jedi, Todd, which we are here to talk about. So if you've never listened to an episode of Shots with us before, the way we typically do these is we sort of give our spoiler-free thoughts for the first few minutes, and then we have a very clear spoiler warning afterwards where we move into a full-on spoiler discussion. So if you're one of those if you're one of those butthurt nerds that doesn't want to hear a single thing about Star Wars, go ahead and tune out now and come back after you've seen the movie. But here in the beginning, we aren't going to flat out spoil anything. We're just going to give our generalized thoughts, and there will be a spoiler warning later. So yeah, spoiler free. Todd, how did you feel about The Last Jedi?
Okay. So did I enjoy watching the movie? Yes, I did. Do I have issues with the movie? Yes.
Okay. Is there any can you get into any of those issues without spoiling anything?
Missed opportunities.
Okay. I can agree with that. Here's the thing. I fucking love this movie. I think that with the exception of maybe Empire, this is the best Star Wars movie. And I've thought about it a lot, since I'm actually kind of glad that we're doing this now. I saw it yesterday. And had we done this as soon as I left the theater, this episode of Shots would have been very different, because I've had time to marinate on it,
Mm-hmm.
And just think about it more. And unlike The Force Awakens, I actually like The Last Jedi more the more I think about it. Whereas with Force Awakens, I've seen it several times since it came out, and I think the more you think about it, the kind of more lame that movie is. It's a great movie still, but the seams start to show themselves a little bit. We're just okay, we're retreading a lot of old ground. And I think what really makes The Last Jedi special is that it doesn't retread old ground, and in fact, I'm trying to tread lightly here. It really does a lot to set the series in a new direction, which is exciting to me.
And I actually agree with you on that point, because that is actually I've had a little longer to think about it. I still have issues with the movie overall.
Yeah, I do too, and we'll get into that.
For the most part, I am on the same page with you for the whole it's kind of going into a new direction. That's cool. I'm fine with that.
It's that same quote that I think what these new movies have done a lot. I brought this up. I don't know if it was to you or to Dan or somebody, but the first words, and the same, they do a similar thing with The Last Jedi, but the first words of The Force Awakens, the very first word of that movie is, "This will begin to make things right." And I think that, and maybe this is just writery Seth looking too much into dialogue, but that to me is a reassurance to the fans of The Force Awakens' job was to sort of right the ship away from the prequels.
You can look at it even in the trailer. You normally don't watch the trailers, but that whole line right there, the one you just opened this movie with, the shots with, that's in a trailer. And I honestly, thinking back, and I'm oh.
And that's salient. This did not go the way you think. It's a very
It did not.
Very surprising movie.
Mm-hmm. It takes every expectation that you think and just throws it out the fucking window.
We'll get into that in more detail in the spoiler section, but it is the most surprising Star Wars movie, and a lot of people are not, I guess, ready to deal with that. But for me, the more salient line comes from Kylo Ren. He says it in the trailers, so I mean, again, this isn't a spoiler.
Take
but
the past and kill it.
Right. He's essentially, it's what you have to do to be who you were meant to be, you know, and that I think is salient because this movie does kind of finally let this new kind of trilogy strike out in its own direction. And I respect that a lot. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people, this is a very like divisive movie, and it was bound to be because some of the things that happen in it are so stark and surprising. But like a lot of people are just like, oh, this movie just shits on everything that J.J. Abrams established. And I'm just like, it had to, because like you cannot bear the weight of this new trilogy on the sort of bones of the original trilogy, you know? But my favorite thing that this movie does, and I'll just kind of say this and as a sort of generalized last recommendation, because again, I really love this movie and I love it more and more the more I think about it. My favorite thing that this movie does I guess my favorite thing about Star Wars in general is just living in the universe and how weird the Star Wars universe is. Without spoiling too much, The Last Jedi makes Star Wars weird again, and I love that about it. like it just, I feel like Trump right now, makes Star Wars weird again. It just, yeah, like I just loved seeing weird shit in this movie, and I love, like, think back to when you first watched A New Hope, or even really when A New Hope was first in theaters, or even when fucking like Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford are reading the script for A New Hope, there was nothing like the Star Wars universe. You know what I mean? And stuff like, you know, stuff like Jedi and Twi'leks and, you know, fucking, you know, Dengar, Mummy Man, and Bounty Hunters and shit like that, and Nine Nub, and, you know, all these weird ass, you know, Snaggletooth and these weird ass characters. These are part of our lexicon now, and they don't seem weird to us. But back then, like, Star Wars is fucking weird. You know, like, Jabba the Hutt's weird. Fucking Boba Fett's weird. You know what I mean? Like, this is weird shit. Blue milk is weird, you know? And, like, that's weird shit. And this movie calls back to that in a lot of meaningful ways, in ways that I don't think The Force Awakens really ever did. Like, The Force Awakens didn't really scratch, I guess, that living in the Star Wars universe itch for me, because it had such a... The Force Awakens had a big task. It had to, like, sort of steer the ship in the right direction. And now that the ship is in the right direction, it's time to forge its own path, and that's what The Last Jedi does. I loved it. I give it my wholehearted recommendation, especially if you're a Star Wars fan. You kind of need to watch it. I mean, it's canon, you know. If you're a Star Wars fan, you don't need my recommendation. You need to go see it. Would you agree with that?
No, yeah. I'm not like I don't hate the movie. I have some issues.
Yeah. Let's get into spoiler territory at this point. So, you know, clear spoiler warning. Beyond this point, we're going to spoil the shit out of this movie and have a full-on spoiler discussion. If you have not seen the movie, if you do not want to be spoiled, go watch the movie and come back and listen to the rest. So, spoiler warning. So, man, fucking A. Like, this movie, there's the moment with Yoda, man.
Oh my! Can I tell you this right now? I was so fucking happy I did not know anything about this fucking movie.
Me too. Like, oh my God.
Dude, when I saw fucking Yoda, I was just like, I had a big grin on my face. I was like, oh my fucking God, yes.
I have not cried in a movie in a very long time.
Did you cry?
I cried at Yoda because
you little pussy. No, I'm just playing.
Here's the thing.
But no, like, it was such a dude. It was I lost my shit when I saw him. I'm like, what? Are you kidding? Like, oh.
Like, it was one of many, like, amazing, shocking moments in the movie, but, like, what really got me is just the fact that, like, he's still teaching Luke, you know, like, after all this time.
That is actually something that I really enjoyed about that, like, and I think, honestly, like, the overarching, like, thing for that movie is this fucking failure.
Right. I was just about to say that. That is
Yeah.
the theme of The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Is failure. Every character in that movie fails at their task.
It's a lot of it's a lot of like failure for character development. Like, again, failure is the greatest teacher, like
Right.
Yoda says.
Right, and you're exactly
again,
right.
I'm cool with that. I'm definitely down with that. Like, overall, again, I do enjoy the movie, and actually, like, when I came out of the theater, I was like, oh, what the shit. But
Right.
again, I kind of sat there and marinated, and I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing, and I respect it.
So, like, when you were talking about, like, you thought some things were, like, could have been explained more, I think you're referring to, like, Snoke and,
Yeah, let's get right into that. Snoke dead. So like, my thing with Mr. Opportunity is I was so interested in, like, everybody went into this movie. A lot of people, like, with their fucking theories, their stupid little theories. Same as me.
oh,
I had
he's
theories.
Mace Windu.
Fuck that. That one was stupid. I actually was more of the Darth Plagueis theory wise, but that's my fault. That's my personal problem. All right.
Here's the thing about this movie is, like, it takes all of your little theories about who Snoke is
tells
and who
tells you to go fuck yourself.
who
That's legit.
who Rey's family is. It basically is just like, you know what, your theories, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
No, it's like, who was Snoke? Who gives a shit? He's dead.
Yeah, Snoke's in two pieces on the ground. Like,
Dude, and it's just like, just to clarify, they showed his dumb ass with his tongue sticking out.
right, yeah. And like Rey's parents, at least according to Kylo, there are a lot of people who are still like, oh, Kylo's
Like,
probably lying.
Maybe he's just like trying to manipulate her.
Yeah, but you know,
I don't know. I honestly think they're just gonna say fuck it, because that's actually one thing I will say. I do enjoy. They kind of brought the Force back to, like, to be for everyone, instead of, like, the whole midichlorian bullshit from
Yeah.
the prequels.
well, yeah,
And
like
I actually
the ending of the movie with the little
Yeah.
kid, you know.
boom, like, and they do that quick. It's a real quick shot too. It's just
Yeah,
like,
he does that quick little thing where he makes the broom go into his hand. You're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, you know.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, and this is a great thing the movie does, is it sort of brings more context. When you see The Force Awakens, you're like, oh man, The Force Awakens and this new girl, Rey. No, The Force is awakening in the galaxy,
I feel that. I respect that right there.
and like The Force is awakening just in general. And Luke, he is not. He says this in his kind of last stand. He is not going to be the last Jedi. You know, the Jedi is not dead. There is hope. You know.
While we're on Luke, can I just say that, like, I actually really, I wish there was more. For some reason, I just wanted to see, like, that, like, stupid expanded universe, godlike, powerful Luke for some reason. But
I think
in
a
my
lot of
mind, I
people
knew
were
that.
expecting that, but like,
Yeah.
he has that last stand on Crate or whatever, and if you, I actually saw
I
it
actually
coming.
really respect it. What?
I saw the Force projection thing coming.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
because they kind of foreshadow that a little bit.
They do.
With, like, the bridge scenes with Kylo and Rey, which are honestly some of the best scenes in that movie.
Yeah, there's so much to unpack with this movie, but
Yeah, love the dialogue between Kylo and Rey. That shit was fantastic.
But there's a shot, like, when he's doing that when he's standing on Crate as kind of Force projection Luke. There's a shot where Kylo, because, you know, the whole deal is it's a salt planet. When you step on it,
yeah, so I was actually going to talk about that. I really respect that. As, like, when Kylo's moving on the salt, it moves and you see the red. You don't see that shit with Luke. If you pay
Exactly.
attention. And then one thing I do respect is I respect, like, the amount of, like, how hard Luke was going with that projection, because his ass was sitting there dodging shit.
Right. Yeah. He had to make him believe it. Right. Like, he had to
Yeah.
buy time for the Resistance. You know, that was his whole thing.
Yeah, and it was good shit.
Doing that Matrix shit. But yeah, I loved that. I'm glad you caught that too, because Kylo, it kind of stands off and he kind of slides his foot on the ground, and Luke does the same thing, but he doesn't leave a trail. It's a very quick shot.
It's a very quick shot, but, like,
And I loved, man, but I just want to go back to Yoda for a second, because, like, that was when I sort of had the, I guess, suspicion that the movie's sort of theme was failure, but then, like, literally Yoda says it, you know. And again, after all this time, he's still teaching Luke, and that really got me just on an emotional level.
Oh, definitely. And also, lightning strike.
Yeah, because Luke is sort of struggling with the thought of, like, he's gonna burn the Jedi texts, which, by the way, are on the Falcon right now. Did you notice that?
Oh, I know. Oh, please, boy.
A lot of
Please.
people are like, so the
that.
Jedi texts are fucking gone? I'm like, no, you see
Ray,
him at
Ray
the
got
end.
Ray stole that shit.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny because when Yoda says like, oh, there's nothing in that tree that Rey does not already possess, you sort of think he means like, oh, it's all inside of her. No, she literally possesses the text.
Yeah, that's some good shit.
So yeah, and he like he makes the decision for Luke. He makes fucking lightning come down and just burn down that fucking tree. And that, again, he's still, after all this time, still teaching Luke how to let go and how to learn from failure, and that failure is okay. And I loved that. Yeah. I loved that. That really, that was what put a lump in my throat. I got choked up several times during this movie, for the record, because this movie it's almost like Rian Johnson knew that Carrie Fisher was gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she passed away. You know, last year? Like late last year? Was it last year?
Yeah,
it was. Right. I think it was right before the end of 2016 she passed away. Yeah, and it just seemed like it was almost as if like he knew, because it is so like this movie almost reads like a Carrie Fisher tribute.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many moments in the movie where I was like, fuck, man, like when she's talking to Holdo, and Holdo's about to put her on the transport ship, and Carrie Fisher's like, or Leia is like I can't deal with another loss. And she's like, sure you can. You taught me how. And then she says, may the Force be with you always, you know.
What was your opinion on the in space gravity thing?
Oh, you mean when Leia straight up uses the Force and saves herself from dying? That shit was amazing.
I feel like that answers a question. Everybody's like, so how powerful is she?
Well, it answered another question. I had going into the movie. Where I was like, okay, well, how are they going to write off Carrie Fisher? You know, and when that happened, and I saw her just kind of floating in space.
I thought she was dead. I thought she was dead, like right there.
Exactly. I was like, oh wow, this is a really like hauntingly beautiful way to kill her off, I guess. But like,
and it still was hauntingly beautiful, except when she opened her eyes and fucked the right.
Yeah, then you see the hand move, what? And I was like, oh shit. And then she like starts flying back into and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? She like, we've always known that she had a link to the Force, like that she can feel Luke and stuff like that. Even back in the original trilogy, you know, she's got that good Skywalker blood, you know.
Now here's the deal. Quick question: Did she Force push that door later on in the movie?
It sort of seemed like. I mean, it was already kind of being cut, but I'm not sure.
I know, but like that door kind of flew out.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious though. How Poe's like, what the fuck, and she like instantly stuns him.
Yeah, it was good shit.
God damn, there's so much to unpack. This could be an hour-long fucking discussion.
Like in the beginning, I was telling you this one's gonna be a long one because there's a lot to talk about with this movie, man.
What I mean by it makes Star Wars weird again. I love like that shit where Luke is like sucking the blue milk out of the titty.
I'm gonna be fucking real with you. That scene disturbed me, and so like it wasn't just the fact that he was drinking it. It was the fact that when the fucking thing looked at Rey, I'm like, oh, don't look.
That's loved terrible. It. I loved it. That was exactly what I was there for. That is exactly what Star Wars was missing for me, because I'm just like, man, like Star Wars is stupid. Like the Star Wars universe is dumb and weird.
Just embrace the stupidity of it.
Let it be weird, man. Like that kind of shit needed to be done. This movie could not be another just simply homage or like, oh, this needs to
just sit there and be the basically the equivalent.
It needed to be original. You know what I mean? Like it wouldn't have been okay with me to that's the thing. This movie's divisive. Everybody was pissed at The Force Awakens for being too much like A New Hope. And then, like, now, like, they're like, oh, Force Awakens is too safe. And now The Last Jedi is trying to be original and unique, and they're like, oh, it's too risky. I'm like, what the fuck do you want? Like, this movie allows Luke Skywalker to drink some, like, blue or green milk or whatever, like, right out from the teat of a fucking weird, gross alien. And it was amazing. Like, I loved it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I loved the that casino planet that Finn and Rose go to.
That's actually a major point of contention for a lot of people. Like, I think there's either you fucking love that planet or you hate the shit out of it.
Well, what do they hate about it?
Honestly, a lot of people just hate on Finn and Rose's storyline. Like, it's just a waste of time.
Well, that's the thing is it's all a waste of time.
Yeah.
It's again, this movie's about failure. Their little mission is a total fuck up, and that's okay. That's the entire point of the fucking movie. You know what I mean? Like, but when that casino planet, like, again, it just does my heart so much good. You go and you see all these weird, the little fucking alien with a little monocle and like red hair putting coins into BB-8 and like.
Apparently that Mark Hamill did the motion capture for that.
Oh, that's amazing! I didn't know that.
That's what my dad told me that, and I'm like, are you fucking shitting me?
That's fantastic.
That's amazing.
I just love that's what I love about Star Wars, man. I love these little weird ass alien creatures. Like, that dude has a name, and he's gonna get like an extended universe book at some point.
Oh, dude, that's without a fucking doubt.
Like, this movie has me so like my Star Wars boner is at peak hardness right now because like I'm telling you right now, for the past 24 hours since I've seen this movie, all of my time spent on my phone has basically been on eBay trying to grab some Star Wars toys.
I respect that.
I'm trying to get Star Wars. I'm trying to add to my slowly growing Boba Fett collection. I want to read some new canon books, like. I'm like there's gonna eventually be a book about that fucking casino. You know what I mean?
Doubt. That's actually another thing. Like, I respect that we saw like a different side of the Star Wars universe with that. Like, there's people just profiting off the the whole like war and shit.
Yeah, straight up arms dealers.
Yeah.
I really liked Benicio del Toro's character.
That character, for the most part, that is a all around. Everybody kind of like digs his character. Like, I love shit. His character's good. He steals some scenes for the most part.
Yeah,
with his stuttering ass.
Yeah, as you're stuttering while you're saying that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're staying in character too. I appreciate it.
Always.
No, but I loved him. Like he had a decent little arc. I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. He was just a cool character. Like, I don't know. Like, it was, and I will say this: I'm not sure how I feel about Rose as a character. Like, I like the shit with her and her sister.
Yeah, that was fine. I have no issue with, like, you can use that scene in the beginning of the movie with her sister like sacrificing her life.
Yeah.
For like, by the end of the thing when she actually sits there and saves Finn. Which, for a second there, I did think he was going to die.
By the way, that was such a weird, like, psycho move. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the whole point of that, like, she...
the whole point of that, I think, in Finn, well, just for Finn's character development, by the way, is that's the opposite of him running away. He's just running straight toward it like a jackass.
Right, exactly. And
but,
you're exactly right. But then, like, Rose, though, like, her whole point is like, oh, we shouldn't be trying to destroy what we hate. We need to save what we love, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, he's trying to make, like, a heroic sacrifice, and then you push him out of the way, and, like, fucking...
I think...
And by the way...
I was reading this. The whole point of this is there are no heroic sacrifices. That's another thing I think this movie was kind of like...
That's fine. I can appreciate that, but, like, that is the only way that they would have stopped the fucking... That is the only way they would have stopped that Death Star cannon. The movie made that clear, and the Death Star cannon does, get through and shit like that because she pushed him out of the way. And by the way, there are no heroic sacrifices. What the fuck? If the movie's trying to say that, then why do they in the same breath have Luke make a heroic sacrifice? You know what I mean? Like,
that's some shit, dude.
I just felt like that whole thing, that whole interaction was like totally needless, and I'm just like, I don't know, like, I looked at that and I was like, wow, that's actually a really, like, suicidal and weirdly psychotic move for her. And by the way, there's been basically no tinge of love interest between her and Finn.
Yeah, that's some real shit. I don't know if they were trying to go for a love, like a love try, like, I don't know, like a love thing there. I don't know.
Because she kisses him.
It's just, I don't know.
She kisses him.
I don't like it.
I know. She kisses him, and even Finn has this look on his face, like, what?
It's like, what's going on? Yeah, it was just, I didn't know what the hell was going on with that whole scene.
Although I respect though, and this is the last thing I'll say about Rose, because I just think that her character in general, she's fine. Like, I like the actress and stuff like that, but like, it's just nice to see, like, a AAA blockbuster movie have like a chubby Asian, sort of like not, she's not like this, stick thin, gorgeous supermodel, like it's nice to see like kind of a chubby Asian actress playing this character like in a big budget movie like that. Star Wars, and I've said this before, Star Wars is the only property that can is big enough to where they can get away with putting sort of minorities in lead roles and marginalized people in lead roles, and I like that we're finally starting to embrace that. It's not just like, oh, more white people. More white people in space, please. It's nice that we're getting more diversity in Star Wars. I like that.
Now, the scenes I do want to talk about, which I do enjoy, the different perspectives with the whole thing with the Jedi Academy. Like, from Kylo's perspective, and you see, like, Luke's perspective.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was some really good shit.
We haven't even talked about Kylo Ren at all. Like,
yeah,
he's awesome in this. Like, I liked him in The Force Awakens, but in this...
I think me and you were in the minority. I actually really dig Kylo's character. Always have.
Yeah.
Now, but, like, he is fucking, like you just said, he's awesome in this movie.
I liked him in Force Awakens, but in this, like, you really get... It's the mark of a great villain, where you can understand his sort of motivations. And yeah...
Mm-hmm.
He lets his rage and his emotions get away from him. That's why he's now the supreme leader. He's full on basically dark side at this point, and that's another way that's another failure of the movie, is like Rey tried to turn him and nope, failed. And yeah, like it was cool to see his backstory and sort of why he was the person he was. And the only when I first left the movie, I had the similar feelings to a lot of people. I was like, oh. I wanted more Snoke. I want to know about, how the First Order came into power. I want to know about the Knights of Ren and this, that, and the other. And I'm just like, and at the end of the day, the more I think about it, does that shit really matter?
Technically, no, but it's along the lines of like, I'd like to know.
Well, that shit is just, the more I think about it, I'm just like, that stuff was always probably destined to be books, Like,
yeah,
that stuff doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, and in a 2.5-hour movie, you can't really touch on the backstory of Snoke. You know what I mean? Like,
that's some true shit.
So, I don't know, like, I mean, honestly, if you think about Darth Sidious in the original trilogy, the only reason we got backstory to him at all is because we got the prequel trilogy.
Yep.
That's the only reason. Other than that, we wouldn't have had any backstory behind him at all. So, I mean, how butthurt can you really be? You know what I mean? I liked Poe's character development in that, like, he finally sort of learns.
He's gonna, because again, I'm pretty sure with like he's gonna end up being the leader of the rebellion here.
Yeah, and he finally sort of like learns. The person he needs to be, and he learns that it's not all about
also
getting in an X-wing and blowing shit up.
Let's talk about this fucking shot when she cuts that fucking ship in half.
Oh, with the jump to light speed.
Oh my God,
that was so cool. That was so
I love
cool.
how it just went quiet, dude. That was
amazing. This movie in general is the most beautifully shot Star Wars movie. Like,
definitely. I
think possible, just with the colors and the contrasts and the framing. Like, this movie is gorgeous just to look at. Man, I feel like there's just still so much more to talk about. I'm just trying to unpack it in my mind.
There is a lot. Like, there's still a lot to talk about.
There's just so much going on in this movie. Like,
like, again, we've been jumping from like scene from like the beginning of the movie to fucking the middle of the movie.
that is one thing. So I want to steer towards the negative for a split second. I do think
doesn't gel together really well.
Yeah, I do think this movie's pacing is a little bit disjointed.
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. That's actually one of my main issues.
Yeah, like I do feel like this movie. I was talking to Dan about it, and I was conflicted on what do I like better. Do I like this or Return of the Jedi better? I think I fall on this more because I like the narrative and the thematic stuff behind it more. But like, but I said that Return of the Jedi is a better movie because the Last Jedi is it isn't a necessarily clumsy juggling act, but it is still a juggling act, and it doesn't really like the pacing of it is such that like it's just bouncing around these different things constantly, you know. And,
yeah, you're at like one point you're seeing multiple different storylines like in just like quick succession of just like then it does like a cycle basically. It cycles back to that, then the other, then that. Yep.
No one thing is given like quite the enough attention, I guess. Like I would have liked more of everything, you know, like
yep.
But you know that's honestly a pretty minor quibble in an otherwise great movie. I mean, I guess it is a big deal in terms of like it as the quality of a movie, but removed from that, just the actual narrative and the story and the writing and everything, I loved. I love what this movie means for Star Wars. Like, I'm so glad that, you know, I mean, literally, and we said this even in the non-spoiler section, like where Kylo's like, you know, kill, like fucking burn the past, like kill it if you have to, literally, you know.
A video I watched beforehand kind of said it, and he's basically put it in a decent way. It was basically like, you don't know where the fuck Star Wars is going to go at this point.
You don't, yeah, and I
it's
love
one
that.
of the first times, and like, because with the prequels, you knew where the fuck where that shit was going.
Well, yeah, just by virtue of them being prequels.
Yeah, just by the virtue of watching the originals. Now with this, you legit do not know where it's going.
Yeah,
because again, they took every little theory that you thought and said they don't matter.
Yep. I really man, I want to talk about Luke's death. Luke dies in this movie.
Now, I'm gonna say this right now. He's gonna be a Force ghost in Episode 9.
Probably. Who cares?
Like I think for sure. I think I've already read that Mark Hamill's like already cast in Episode 9.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like a Force ghost. He's still gonna like teach Rey or some shit.
I'm sure he is. But like that to me, I just want to talk about the death itself, like because essentially what happens is he is so drained from doing the Force projection. Like this movie does,
because he projects it like God knows how far away,
right?
And God knows how far away, and fuck for a pretty long time.
Yeah, and I mean and I think that Leia knew instantly that it was a projection because, like I love. That's another like Carrie Fisher tribute moment where it's like the things that we love are never truly gone type shit, you know. And he puts Han's like dice in her hands, and then later Kylo finds
even
them.
Though they're not
right. Kylo finds them in their projection and stuff. And again, I think Leia knew all along that they were, and that's why she left them. If it was really Han's shit, she wouldn't have left it, you know. But his actual death, I thought was perfect. Like,
I mean, did I want him to die? No, but if he was gonna die anyway, I was happy with the death.
I loved seeing him just totally at peace, totally resolved. Finally, he no longer has to feel like a failure because Yoda taught him that failure is okay, and he did something good, and he you know, he knows that the Jedi will continue, and it ends as it began. He literally dies looking to the twin suns, looking in the horizon, just like he started in A New Hope.
And like you were saying, I love the way this movie shot. That was such a good shot.
Yeah, and man, it was hilarious. So there was Anastasia, my fiance, and I went and saw this yesterday afternoon, kind of an early showing. There was this fucking dork in front of us the whole time, this just angry nerd. He's just talking to himself the entire time. He's sitting in the row right in front of me. And he's kind of like quietly talking to himself. Like you could sort of hear him just mutter under his breath, like, "You're probably going to show up at Episode 9." Just, you know, saying shit, like kind of muttering. And like he's like looking at his phone the whole time, just being a fucking cunt, you know? When Luke dies, he throws up his arms. He goes, "Oh, come on! Oh, fuck this!" And he stormed out of the theater. And Anastasia and I just looked at each other and like burst like laughing. Like we were kind of laughing at him throughout the whole movie because he was just being an angry dork, you know. But like when he did that, oh fuck this!
See, I was I'm okay with I was okay with that death because like it was that's good shit.
Oh my god. It was like one of the best things that's happened to me in recent memory. I was like, thank you, Lord, for this. This is just the perfect like Star Wars experience is this angry dork. Oh, fuck this shit.
He was definitely that's good.
Yeah, but
I'm happy you had that to share with me.
there was just I thought Luke's death was just so beautifully handled and perfectly handled, and I feel
And again,
like,
it's not like we're still gonna see him. He's gonna be in episode 9.
I'm sure he is. That to me, like just the Luke has a character arc in this, and I loved that, and I loved the way Mark Hamill played him, where like he there's a lot of humor in this movie. This is the funniest Star Wars movie by far. And I loved that. It's the way the movie opens with that sort of dogfight with Poe. Like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? It's a Hux and shit. That shit's so good. Like, there's so many like actually laugh out loud moments that are not usually present.
I chuckled when sitting there when Kylo's just fucking raining down just like fucking blaster shot from like the AT-ATs basically, and his ass comes out of the fucking smoke, fucking brushing his shoulder and shit. I'm
exactly. Yeah, so good. And I loved it. There's just so much to unpack. I'm sure.
I honestly feel like we can probably end up talking about this movie for another 30 minutes.
How did you feel about the Porgs?
I actually didn't hate them as more. I liked them more than I thought I would.
Me too. I thought I was going to be super annoyed.
I will say this right now. One of my favorite scenes with them is one of the first main scenes with them with fucking Chewie about to eat one of them.
Yeah, eating him like a roasted one by the fire, and he's just giving him those puppy dog eyes.
Looking at him like, oh.
Yeah, like what the fuck, man? And Chewie kind of has a little Porg buddy now, almost. Like
I don't think he wants it. It's just with him.
I feel like he kind of likes him by the end of it when he's that
a little bit. Yeah.
That shot that's in the trailer where he's kind of his co-pilot a little bit.
Yeah. They are adorable. You gotta give Disney that. They know how to make it. They knew it. Like, we need a very cute fucking.
They know how to make a very cute, marketable alien creature. But
that is a very marketable.
But again, this movie just has like the weird like Star Wars aliens and creatures that I love. Like those crystal foxes are really cool. And
I feel like they have a better name than that, but fuck what I know what it is.
I'm sure they do. All of this shit has names. The fucking kids, the little like urchin kids are fucking. They all have names.
Now, I want to talk about this. The scenes with the Octo caretakers were fucking entertaining.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I like fucking live for that shit though with Star Wars.
Yeah, again that's one of the things I love seeing, like the new like alien species, the new weird shit like that, like those, I don't know what the fuck those were. Those fucking things that were like racing.
Yeah, those weird horse dog things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were cool. I liked that. I liked that Rose kind of like set them free and stuff. I feel like at this point there's a million things we could talk about. I'm sure we've forgotten some stuff, but if you can't tell,
I will shout out before you try. I know you're trying to put a bow on this. Fuck you.
No. I was just saying. I think you could tell that we both really like it.
No, I want to talk about like the scene with Snoke's death real quick.
Okay.
Like that, I will say that I actually do love that scene, just because it's just like. Because Snoke's looking at like Kylo, and just like where I saw like conflict, I see only resolve and all that bullshit, and just the whole I see you turning your blade to your true enemy, and I just fucking love that. He's technically doing it with his both of his hands, and just loved it.
Yep,
loved it.
Yep,
Cut his ass
he's
right
like
in
basically. Half. He's got Rey on the ground there, and he's basically just like oh Rey, you're so fucked. I can tell that Kylo's about to kill his true enemy, and like, oh yeah, this true enemy's you, bitch.
Yeah, and that was, and at that point, cool. Kylo is in a point that Darth Vader never was.
Right.
Full on control.
Right, and that's another thing that's cool is like we never got to see Darth Vader.
We never saw actually the video I watched. We never saw Darth Vader without the leash.
Right, and that's what Kylo is now.
Yeah, he is off the leash. He's fucking powerful as shit,
And he's way less emotionally stable than Vader ever was. So.
Oh yes, and that's actually something that's interesting about his character because he's just again he's gonna go crazy. It's good shit.
And he's also fucking yoked. Holy shit. That's another thing. Like fucking man, I was like, I'm a little attracted to Adam Driver right now. Shit, look at how buff this motherfucker is. He has like a comically large chest and muscles. We talked about the sort of like this movie has new implications of the Force between Leia sort of saving herself with the Force and Luke using the Force projection. Do we want to talk about?
No, the one thing I actually respect is he basically cut himself off from the Force. Luke
Right.
did.
Yeah.
I love that.
Do we want to talk about how like Rey and Kylo were talking over Forcebook Messenger?
That's a good way of putting it. I really do enjoy that, and I do love that you find out that Snoke basically bridged that. He was kind of setting all that shit up. I do enjoy that. But those scenes in general were just really well done. Like the dialogue between the two are great.
Again, just new implications of the Force that like we've never seen the Force used like that. You know, and that's so cool. Like this movie does some really cool shit.
I also just enjoy that scene later on, like right after Snoke dies, where they're just fucking fighting those guards.
Oh yeah, that was so cool.
That was some real good shit.
Really well choreographed action scene. There's so much cool shit in this movie.
Now, when I'm gonna say this is when Rey gets her own lightsaber, I want it to be a double bladed.
I almost feel like
I want it to be something special. Like, incorporate her staff.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I feel like it's probably going to be, like, staff-like whenever she gets her own.
That's what I'm saying, like, because that's her fighting style, man. I feel like it's going to be, like, if it's not going to be a double-bladed thing, be its own thing where it's, like, some, like, fucking short little lightsaber blades. I don't give a fuck.
That's something that I feel like we can talk about before we wrap this up is where do you think we're going now? Like, how do you think Episode 9 is going to, like, where do you think we're heading?
To build up the rebellion. They have to build the rebellion.
Well, yeah, because now the rebellion is so small now you can fit it all in the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, exactly. Like they need to find allies. They need to build a rebellion. I think what's her name? Mazda's probably gonna have a bigger scene.
Oh,
like a bigger
Mazda, Maz Kanata. Mazda's a car, Todd.
I don't remember her fucking name, bro.
Yeah, I think fucking Mazda.
I forgot her fucking name. The bitch is barely in the movie.
That's hilarious. Yeah,
she was in the movie for like
Maz Kanata.
She was in the movie for like 20 seconds.
Yeah. Oh man.
Forgive me for forgetting that character.
I know. It was just funny that you called her Mazda. That was just funny as hell.
I'm gonna continue calling her Mazda. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, fuck it.
Now, own it. Gotta own it. Now, I feel like she's probably gonna have a bigger role in the next one.
I'm more so curious as to how they're gonna deal with Leia in this one because I mean she's alive at the end of this movie.
So that's some good shit.
Here's what I think.
I honestly,
I feel like the way to handle this is I don't think they're gonna do the CG thing, which a lot of people do.
They actually gave them like the permission to do it, but I don't think they want to do it.
I don't think they're going to. I think that the best way to handle this is I think they're probably going to do a time jump with Episode 9.
And just have her, and like she just kind of like passed away.
Flash forward, like a little while, like a month or two or something, and maybe Leia just passed away. There's too much strain. Maybe the movie opens at her funeral, Yeah. And that is a good way to sort of pass the torch to Poe to sort of be the new general,
That'd be the classy way to do it, like I think that's probably the only way they really should do it.
But what's going to be interesting is like, Rey has the Jedi text that if you think about it, that is now the only way she's going to be able to really learn. I mean, yeah, Luke's probably going to come back as a Force ghost. I don't think he's going to train her as a Force ghost.
Why not?
I don't think that's going to happen. Force. You can't just have him as a Force ghost the entire time. His death would be meaningless.
I mean, just have him pop in like occasional.
Yeah, he's going to pop in, but I'm just saying he can't. He can't literally just be there ever present.
He's going to basically do the bullshit that that Obi-Wan did in the originals, and then fucking
Well, yeah,
Yoda did in this one.
That's the point of the Force Ghost, is just kind of pop in, say some cool shit, and then peace out. Like, he's not gonna be a Force Ghost just sitting there training her. You know what I mean?
Oh God, no. I feel there's gonna be a level of like she'll learn something from him.
No, yeah, totally. He's gonna pass on some wisdom to her. But my point is, she's going. The only thing now, there are two ways that she can now learn the Jedi ways. It's just her and Kylo now, right? Mm-hmm. And so she has the ancient texts. She's gonna have to be like studying that shit. And if the Jedi want to continue, Rey's gonna have to teach people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, is Rey gonna take in some of those Force sensitive kids? You know, eventually, is she gonna have her own sort of like Jedi Academy? Because that's the only way the Jedi are gonna continue at this point.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I'm really, really interested to see where this goes. I don't think. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. I mean, it's probably gonna be another very surprising movie, but I don't see Kylo turning back to the light side at this point. I think he's too far gone.
No, at this point, I think he again. His conflict is gone at that point. It's full on resolve.
Yeah,
his whole deal. Let the past die, kill it, bury it, and all that shit.
Yeah,
this motherfucker wants to. He wants to rule now. He's supreme leader, motherfucker.
Yeah, right. So I think there are some cool implications for where Episode 9 could go. I don't know. But I think the most exciting thing about it is there is no surefire like, okay, this is where we're going. You have some thoughts.
No,
but
that's there again. There's theories, but
right.
like this movie proved, your theories don't mean shit.
Right. Well, is there anything else you want to bring up before we wrap this up?
I mean, we could honestly continue talking for about 20 more minutes, but I think this is about a good time to put a bow on it.
I'm sure there's a million more things we could bring up, but I got Star Wars toys to buy, I got books to read, I got video games. I have Star Wars content to consume, Todd. I swear to God, that's like the big like thing for me is like this movie has me excited about Star Wars again.
Yeah, like again, like when going into like when I said like I have issues, like my issues are like small. And again, like they were bigger issues for me before I had a couple days to sit there and marinate on the movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And overall, again, I still enjoy the movie, you know. But yeah, I am looking forward to where they're gonna go from this point though, because you don't fucking know now. Yeah, that's something I gotta respect.
I'm just so excited. I'm so excited by Star Wars again. I love it. I can't wait to buy some toys of weird alien dudes. I can't wait to read entire spin-off books about fucking the casino planet and shit like that. I love it. I love it. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys.
Oh, whoa. I got wait up. Why the fuck are we not shouting out BB motherfucking 8?
What about him?
He did some good shit in this movie.
I guess so. I don't think it was worth stopping the podcast for.
Oh, fuck you! I thought it was some good shit. His ass had some really good scenes in this movie.
He was BB-8. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, fuck you then.
That's pure BB. I mean, I don't know. He was fine. Like he was good, but he didn't really do anything. You know, like I liked him.
Oh,
you know.
Well, now it's opened the floodgate because we didn't even talk about Phasma.
Yeah, like I've said, there's a million things that we're probably forgetting about.
Yeah. Hurry up and end it before I keep on going for like a 20 more minutes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like I'm sure there's 10,000 things. You know, Phasma has apparently the only stormtrooper armor that matters because she can get directly shot and it doesn't fucking matter. You know, there's why do we not have that material on all stormtroopers? But you know, I fucking digress.
Real shit.
Everybody and a lot of people are like, oh, I think she survived that shit, and I'm like, I mean, maybe.
Well, like the whole point with that is like, shit, I can survive a blaster shot. Why not fire?
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm also just sort of like, wasn't she in space? Wasn't that shit in space?
That's a real good question. I don't remember.
I don't know. She was always sort of destined to be the Boba Fett of this.
I mean, yeah, for the most part. And then like, because again, I think there's already like really good shit with her, like in the like the comics or like books or whatever.
There is, there is a book called Phasma.
Yeah,
and there's a little comic miniseries about her backstory as well.
And Phasma's main role in this movie is just to be a stepping stone for Finn as a character.
Phasma's backstory is actually really interesting. If you ever,
I actually don't know anything about it.
She Yeah, I'm not gonna get into it because again, that's another. Again, Star Wars is so vast. We already have so much to say about it. But she has an interesting backstory. I'll say that she's I'll say that she was ruthless from the get go.
Oh, good shit.
Anyway, yeah. Let's again before we think of more shit to cram into this episode of shots. Let's wrap it up, Todd. Thank you guys for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Make Star Wars weird again. Bye.
See ya.